The sun was dipping low over the jagged horizon of South Australia's coastline, casting a golden glow across the modest two-bedroom house where Elena Carver lived with her husband, Daniel, and their rambunctious 3-year-old son Theo. At 34, Elena was 4 months pregnant with her second child, a fact that brought her equal parts joy and exhaustion. Her days were a blur of managing Theo's boundless energy, working full-time at a local marketing firm, and preparing for the inequity table chaos of a growing family, all while Daniel was away on a month-long business trip to Sydney. The house wasn't grand, but it was hers, a sanctuary carved out of years of hard work and quiet resilience. Or at least it was supposed to be. That illusion shattered one humid Thursday afternoon when Elena returned home from the office, sirivawaiing the curry she'd made the night before. She'd spent hours chopping vegetables and simmering spices, a rare indulgence amid her hectic schedule. The rich aroma had lingered in the kitchen as she tucked extra portions into the fridge, dreaming of savoring them later. But when she opened the door, the fridge held no trace of her labor, just a foil-covered dish of bland, beige mush labeled in her mother-in-law's sharp handwriting. Chicken casserole better for you. A sticky note on the counter confirmed her worst suspicions. Your curry smelled off, so I tossed it. Enjoy this instead. Margaret. Elena's blood boiled. Margaret Baxter, Daniel's overbearing mother, had a spare key for emergencies, a decision Elena now regretted with every fiber of her being. The woman hadn't called, hadn't texted, hadn't even waited for Elena to be home. She'd let herself in, rifled through Elena's kitchen, and discarded something Elena had poured her heart into. Pregnant, tired, and hormonal, Elena couldn't stomach the thought of Margaret's tasteless substitute. She scooped the casserole into a plastic bag, drove to the edge of town, and handed it to a homeless man named Pete, who frequented the park near her office. He thanked her with a gap-toothed grin, and for a fleeting moment she felt lighter. That lightness didn't last. Word got back to Margaret's. Someone had seen Elena give away the food, and the fallout was immediate. Elena's phone buzzed with a barrage of messages from her in-laws. Margaret's texts were a mix of indignation and martyrdom. I slaved over that casserole for you and you throw it away like trash? Ungrateful doesn't even begin to cover it. Her father-in-law, Harold, chimed in with a sanctimonious lecture about respect. Elena stared at the screen, her jaw tight. Daniel, thankfully, backed her up when she called him that night, his voice crackling over the spotty hotel Wi-Fi. She had no right to do that, Elle. I'll talk to her when I'm back. Just hang in there. His support was a lifeline, but it didn't erase the gnawing realization that her in-laws saw her home as an extension of their domain. This wasn't a one-off. Margaret had a history of crossing lines, a habit rooted in her unshakable belief that she knew best. She was a woman who turned every minor VY Tory into a theatrical production, hosting monthly club parties. For her fellow nurses' events she billed as elite gatherings despite their mundane reality of boxed wine and store-bought cheese platters. Elena had endured years of Margaret's meddling, from unsolicited advice on Theo's diet to passive-aggressive jabs about Elena's spicy cooking. But the Union VY TED entry, the curry purge, felt like a declaration of war. The incident lingered in Elena's mind as she navigated the next few weeks, a storm brewing beneath her calm exterior. She'd always prided herself on her ability to manage chaos, a skill honed by years of balancing work, motherhood, and a marriage that, while strong, wasn't immune to strain. Daniel had been a skinny, quiet man when they met 12 years ago. His palate stunted by Margaret's restrictive cooking: no salt, no sugar, no flavor, just a joyless parade of boiled vegetables and plain meat. Elena's meals had opened his eyes to a world beyond his mother's culinary tyranny, and their bond had deepened over shared plates of garlic-laden pasta and fiery curries. But Margaret's shadow loomed large, a constant reminder that Elena wasn't just marrying Daniel, she was inheriting his family's baggage. That baggage grew heavier when Elena's own family descended on her doorstep. Her parents, Richard and Faye, and her 29-year-old sister, Chloe, arrived unannounced from Western Australia after their planned cruise fell through. We thought we'd surprise you, Faye chirped as she hauled a suitcase into the Levi-ing room, oblivious to Elena's strained smile. With Daniel away and the house already bursting at the seams, Elena wasn't thrilled about hosting 3 adults for a week. The spare queen bed went to her parents, while Chloe claimed the couch, her snoring so loud it rattled the windows. Elena offered to share her own bed. But Chloe's thrashing and nasal symphony made that unbearable after one night. For 4 days, Elena gritted her teeth through the disruption. Theo loved the extra attention, but the house felt like a pressure cooker, too many bodies, too little space, and a pregnant woman stretched thin. Then, over dinner on the second night, Richard dropped a bombshell. "Oh, by the way," he said, spearing a forkful of mashed potatoes, "Chloe's boyfriend, Nate, is flying up to join us this weekend. Gets in Sunday at 8 a.m. Should be fun." Elena froze, her fork hovering midair. "Who's Nate?" Chloe grinned, unfazed. "My new guy. We've been dating 6 weeks. He's great, you'll love him." "You and Ted him here?" Elena's voice was tight, disbelief warring with rising anger. "Without asking me?" Richard shrugged. "It's family, Elena. We figured you wouldn't mind." "I don't even know him." Elena set her fork down, her appetite gone. "And where's he supposed to sleep? On the couch with Chloe? In my bed? We don't have room for this." Faye waved a hand dismissively. "Oh, don't be dramatic. He's a nice boy. We've met him a few times." "A few times?" Elena's laugh was sharp. "You've known him 5 weeks and now he's crashing my house? With my 3-year-old here? No. Absolutely not." The table fell silent. Theo, sensing the tension, stopped smearing peas on his plate and looked at his mother with wide eyes. Elena excused herself, stepped outside, and called Daniel. The connection was patchy, but his response was firm. "They can't do that, Elle. Tell them no. I'll back you up." Bolstered by his support, she dialed Chloe from the porch, the evening breeze doing little to cool her temper. "Chloe, Nate's not coming. I'm not okay with a stranger sleeping in my house. End of story." The line crackled, and then Faye's voice exploded through the speaker. "Elena Marie Carver, how dare you? We're your family. You think we bring someone dangerous into your home? You're being ridiculous." "I'm being a parent," Elena shot back. "This is my house, my rules. You didn't ask, you just assumed. That's not okay. You're letting Daniel control you," Faye snapped. "Ever since you married him, you've changed. We're done here." The call ended abruptly, Leah vying Elena staring at her phone in disbelief. By morning, her family was gone. They'd packed up and left without a word, though a text arrived later that day. "We're not Leah vying because we're wrong. You've been a terrible host. You're not the daughter we raised. Daniel's turned you into someone selfish." The word stung, cutting deeper than Elena cared to admit. She wasn't overreacting, was she? They'd and Ted themselves over, disrupted her life, and then blindsided her with a stranger. She'd bent over backward to accommodate them, only to be lified for setting a boundary. The entitlement baffled her, echoing the same arrogance she'd battled with Margaret. As she processed the fallout, Elena's thoughts drifted to her wedding 2 years earlier, a day that should have been a triumph but had nearly unraveled under Margaret's influence. Her grandfather, Walter, a kind-hearted widower with a knack for grand gestures, had gifted Elena and Daniel a destination wedding package. A 6-day stay at a luxurious resort in Fiji, complete with a beachfront ceremony. It was a dream Elena had shared with him since she was a teenager, sketching fantasy venues in her notebooks while he listened with a twinkle in his eye. With their budget tight and their family sprawling, Elena and Daniel had painstakingly crafted a guest list: 30 for her, 22 for him, all people they cherished deeply. Then Margaret had swooped in. She'd arrived Ted at their apartment one night, her heels clicking ominously on the hardwood as she demanded changes to the list. "I've told my colleagues about this wedding," she'd said, her tone imperious. "They're expecting in Tadians. You need to make room." Elena had been floored. "Margaret, the list is full. These are our closest friends and family, people we see all the time. I'm not cutting them for your coworkers." Margaret's eyes narrowed. "Well, what about your cousin's sister, Lila? She's in Wolverhampton now. It's too far for her to travel." "Lila lived with me for 6 years after college," Elena said, her voice rising. "She's family. I'm not ting her because it's inconvenient for you." She turned to Daniel, expecting solidarity, but he'd fidgeted, avoiding her gaze. "Mom's got a point, Elle. She's already told them. It'd be awkward to back out now." The betrayal hit like a punch. Elena tried reasoning with them, showing Margaret the list and explaining each name's significance, but the woman wouldn't budge. Daniel's weak support only fueled her frustration. Finally, she'd stormed out, slamming the door behind her. The next morning, Elena made a call that changed everything. She rang Walter, her voice trembling as she recounted the night's events. "I'm done fighting them, Grandpa. I'm taking back control. I'm removing you, Grandma, Uncle Tom, and his family from the list, and I need you to cancel the wedding package." Walter's silence was heavy, but when he spoke, his tone was warm. "I get it, kiddo. I'm not mad. Do what you need to do." His understanding was a balm, but the decision still ached. When Elena sent the revised list to Daniel and Margaret, their reactions were volcanic. "You can't do this," Margaret shrieked over the phone. "You're ruining everything." Daniel, pale and stammering, tried to mediate. Let's talk about this." "No," she cut him off, her voice steel. "You wanted your mom's friends? Fine. But without Grandpa's gift, there's no venue, no package. We'll have to start over new and VY Tadian's new plans, all of it." "That's on you." Margaret's tune changed fast. She showed up the next day, all apologies and crocodile tears. "I didn't mean to push you, Elena. Call Walter, ask him to reinstate it. My friends won't come if it's not a destination wedding. It'll be too ordinary." Daniel finally cracked. "I should have stood by you, El. I'm sorry." But Elena wasn't ready to forgive. "It shouldn't take losing everything for you to see that," she said coldly. "The list stays as is. The package is gone. Deal with it." Margaret didn't let it go quietly. She began a campaign of phone calls to Daniel, painting Elena as a vengeful ingrate. One night on speakerphone, Elena overheard her say, "She's trouble, Danny. Marry her and you'll regret it. She'll make your life hell." Daniel pushed back, "Mom, that's enough." But his mild rebuke didn't match the venom Elena had endured. It planted a seed of doubt. Could she build a life with him if Margaret's interference never stopped? In the end, they salvaged the wedding. Elena found a local venue, charming VY neared an hour from home, and reinstated Walter and her uncle's family. The day was stunning. Theo toddling down the aisle with the rings, the air thick with love and laughter. Margaret sulked in a corner with her nurse friends, but Elena didn't care. Walter and Uncle Tom surprised them with a gift. A small fixer-upper house, a fresh start. It was a VY Tory snatched from the jaws of chaos. Now, 2 years later, that VY Tory felt fragile. Margaret's curry stunt and her family's invasion had cracked something in Elena. She couldn't keep levying like this, sandwiched between in-laws who trespassed and parents who guilt-tripped her into submission. The breaking point came a week after her family left, when Margaret showed up again, this time with a bag of groceries and a smug declaration. "I'm cooking dinner tonight. You need proper food for that baby." Elena snapped. "No, Margaret. You don't get to waltz in here and take over. This is my house. Give me the key." Margaret blinked, clutching the key like a lifeline. "I'm just trying to help." "You're not helping. You're controlling. Key. Now." Reluctantly, Margaret handed it over, her lips pursed. "You'll regret this, Elena." "I'll regret not doing it sooner," Elena replied, shutting the door. That night she called Daniel. "We're changing the locks tomorrow. And when you're back, we're setting rules with your mom. No more spare keys, no more unannounced VY sits. I'm done." He sighed, but his voice was steady. "Okay, El. I'll talk to her. I promise." The next day, a locksmith arrived, and Elena felt a weight lift as the new keys jingled in her hand. She wasn't just locking out Margaret, she was locking in her peace. Her parents called later that week, acting as if nothing had happened, but Elena kept them at arm's length. "We need space," she told Faye. "You crossed the line. I'm not ready to pretend it didn't happen." At 4 months pregnant, with Theo napping upstairs and Daniel due home in 3 weeks, Elena stood in her kitchen, staring at the fridge. She pulled out ingredients: garlic, ginger, turmeric, and started a new curry. The scent filled the house, bold and unapologetic, a quiet rebellion against the blandness that had once defined her life. She was done bending, done shrinking. This was her home, her family, her story, and she'd fight for every spicy, messy, beautiful inch of it.